Stop saying yes when you mean no. This is not just a sentence, it is a life lesson that many of us struggle with every single day. Think about how many times in your life you have agreed to do something, even though your heart was screaming in the opposite direction. You nodded your head politely, you forced a smile, and you said the three-letter word, yes. But inside you felt uneasy, restless, and even a little resentful. Why? Because deep down, you knew it wasn't aligned with your truth. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you come home after a long, tiring day. You are exhausted. You want nothing more than to rest, maybe read a little, or spend a quiet moment with yourself. And just then, your phone rings. A friend says, "Can you come over? I need some company." You know you don't have the energy. You know your body and mind are asking for rest. But still you say, "Yes, of course." You get ready, drag yourself out, and go outwardly. You are smiling, but inwardly, you are drained. You wanted to say no, but you said yes. What happened here? You betrayed yourself for the fear of disappointing someone else. This habit may seem harmless in the short term, but over time it eats away at your happiness. Every forced yes builds up resentment inside, and resentment is like a slow poison. It doesn't kill you immediately, but it makes your spirit weaker and weaker. Think about the times you agreed to help with something you didn't have time for, or when you joined a plan you didn't enjoy, or when you accepted a request that went against your priorities. Did you feel joy? Or did you feel regret afterward? Now let's understand why we do this. Many of us are raised with the belief that being nice means always being available, always being agreeable, and never saying no. We fear that if we decline, people will think we are rude, selfish, or arrogant. But the truth is, saying no does not mean you are unkind. It means you are honest. A genuine no is far better than a fake yes. Because when your yes is not real, you are not serving the other person with authenticity. You are only serving their convenience. Think of it like this. If someone offers you food and you are already full, would it be right to accept just to make them happy? Out of politeness, you may accept, but the truth is you will feel uncomfortable, your body will suffer, and deep down, you won't enjoy it. But if you kindly say, "Thank you, but I am full," the person may be slightly disappointed, but they will respect your honesty. Over time, they will learn that your words carry truth, not just politeness. When you stop saying yes all the time, something magical happens. You start valuing your own time, energy, and emotions. You begin to realize that your yes has power only when it is not given away cheaply. A person who says yes to everything ends up being taken for granted. But a person who says yes only when it comes from the heart, such a yes is respected, appreciated, and remembered. Let me share another example. At work, there's always that one colleague who volunteers for everything. Extra assignments. Yes. Helping others with their tasks. Yes. Covering for someone else. Yes. Initially, people admire their helpfulness. But soon, it becomes an expectation, and worse, that person starts drowning under the weight of responsibilities that were never theirs to begin with. The same people who once praised them now assume it is their duty. They no longer see the sacrifice, they only see availability. On the other hand, the person who sets boundaries and says, "I'm sorry, I cannot take this right now," may face a little resistance at first, but in the long run, that person is respected because they are not just agreeable, they are reliable. Their yes actually means something. Saying no requires courage, but it also builds character. When you say no to things that drain you, you are saying yes to things that matter more: your peace, your growth, your authenticity. You are making space for what truly aligns with your values. And that alignment is where true happiness comes from. Now, here's something important to remember: how you say no matters. A no wrapped in kindness feels different from a no wrapped in arrogance. You don't have to be harsh or cold. You can say no with a smile, with gratitude, and with grace. For example, instead of saying, "I don't want to help you," you can say, "I'd really love to help, but I don't have the capacity right now." This way, you protect your boundaries without harming the relationship. Life is too short to keep living on borrowed yeses. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you are borrowing from your future happiness. You are creating a debt of frustration that eventually shows up in stress, anger, and regret. But every time you honor your true feelings and say no when necessary, you are investing in your peace. Remember, your value is not in how much you can bend, but in how true you can stay. People may not like your no in the moment, but they will learn to trust you for your authenticity. And most importantly, you will begin to trust yourself again. That trust, the ability to honor your own heart, is the foundation of confidence and self-respect. So, my friends, stop being afraid of the word no. A no to others can often be a yes to yourself. And when you start living with that courage, you stop betraying yourself for approval, and you start honoring yourself for growth. That shift from forced yeses to authentic choices can transform your entire life. Don't confuse being liked with being valued. This is one of the most common traps that people fall into, especially those who always want to be on good terms with everyone around them. We grow up with the desire to be liked, to be accepted, to hear people say, "You are such a nice person." But let us pause and think, does being liked always mean being valued? The truth is, not at all. Being liked can often be temporary, shallow, and based on convenience. But being valued is deeper, lasting, and based on who you truly are. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you are in a group of friends. You are the one who always says yes to plans, the one who adjusts your schedule, the one who never complains even when the plan doesn't suit you. Everyone likes you. They think, "She's so easy going. She never causes any trouble." But do they really value you? Or do they like you because you make things easier for them? There's a difference. When people value you, they respect your time, they check in with your needs, and they don't just see you as the one who adjusts for their comfort. But when they only like you, you are more like a convenience, a person who fits into their picture without ever painting her own. Think of a workplace. There are two types of employees. One is the person who always agrees with the boss, nods at every idea, and never raises their own voice. The boss likes this person because they are agreeable. But when promotions come, does the boss necessarily value that person's input? Not always. The second type of employee is the one who sometimes disagrees respectfully, brings fresh ideas, and takes a stand when needed. The boss may not always like hearing the disagreement, but they value this person's courage, authenticity, and contribution. One is liked for silence, the other is valued for strength. And between the two, which one do you think builds a meaningful place in the long run? The one who is valued. When you confuse being liked with being valued, you start chasing approval instead of respect. You spend energy trying to maintain your image rather than growing your substance. It's like decorating the wrapping paper, but forgetting about the gift inside. People may admire the outside for a moment, but unless there is real value within, admiration fades quickly. On the other hand, if you focus on building your character, your principles, and your authenticity, even if not everyone likes you, the right people will value you for a lifetime. Consider daily life again. A young woman constantly does favors for her relatives, drives them around, lends them money, babysits their children, often without being asked. Everyone says, "She's so sweet, she's always there for us." She is liked, but when she is in need, maybe she is sick, maybe she's struggling financially, how many of those same people show up for her? Very few. Why? Because they liked her for what she gave, not for who she was. They never valued her sacrifices. They only enjoyed the convenience of her presence. This is the painful truth of confusing like with value. Now let's imagine a different scenario. Another woman, when asked for help, says yes when she genuinely can, and no when she cannot. She communicates openly, doesn't overextend herself, and never pretends to be okay when she isn't. Some relatives may find her less nice because she sets limits. But the ones who truly care about her respect her honesty, they know that when she says yes, it comes from the heart. And when she says no, it's because she is being true to herself. Over time, this woman may not be liked by everyone, but she is valued by the ones who matter most. It is the same in friendships. The friends who like you will laugh at your jokes, enjoy your company, and appreciate the good times. But the friends who value you will stand with you. When things are hard, they will respect your choices, and they won't disappear when you stop entertaining them. Liking is easy. It takes nothing more than a smile or a good mood. But valuing takes depth, understanding, and genuine connection. Here's the challenge in life. You cannot be liked by everyone. Even the kindest, most genuine people face criticism and dislike. But you can be valued by the right people if you live with authenticity. Ask yourself, do I want to spend my life running after the short, lived approval of many? Or do I want to invest in the deep respect of a few who truly see my worth? When you live for likes, you live like a shadow, always changing shape to please others. But when you live for value, you live like a tree, rooted, strong, and nourishing the right people around you. Being valued also means valuing yourself. When you respect your own boundaries, when you honor your time, when you choose honesty over pretense, you are teaching others how to treat you. If you only chase being liked, you train people to take advantage of your agreeableness. But when you prioritize being valued, you train people to respect you for who you are, not just for what you give. So remember, being liked may give you applause today, but being valued gives you legacy tomorrow. Don't be afraid if not everyone likes you. It is impossible anyway. Focus on building the kind of life where even if only a few truly understand you, they do so with respect, love, and deep appreciation. That is far more powerful than the shallow liking of many. The next time you feel tempted to agree just to stay liked, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this because it reflects my truth or because I fear losing approval? If it is the latter, step back. Approval fades, but authenticity remains. People will not always like you, but when you live authentically, the right people will always value you. And that, my friends, is where real fulfillment lies. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks. This one thought can change the way you look at your relationships and your life. Many people misunderstand boundaries. They think if you set limits, you are being selfish, rude, or distant. But boundaries are not about shutting people out. They are about inviting people in, consciously, carefully, and respectfully. Imagine your home. You don't keep every door wide open so that anyone can walk in and do whatever they like. You use locks, you decide who enters, and you ensure they treat your home with respect. Does that mean you are unfriendly? No, it simply means you are wise enough to protect what matters. Your life, your heart, your energy, they are like your home. Boundaries are the locks that guard them. Let's take a simple daily life example. Suppose you are at work and a colleague constantly interrupts you. They come to your desk again and again, chatting, asking questions, or unloading their personal problems. At first, you smile and listen because you don't want to appear rude. But slowly, your work suffers, your deadlines pile up, and your stress increases. If you don't draw a line, they will continue, not because they are bad people, but because you haven't communicated your boundary. Now imagine if you politely say, I value our conversations, but I really need focused time to finish this task. Can we catch up during the lunch break instead? You've set a boundary, not a wall. You didn't push them away. You simply put a lock on your door and showed them the right time to knock. Boundaries are also essential in personal relationships. Think of a friend who always borrows money but never returns it. Every time they ask, you feel uncomfortable, but you still say yes because you don't want to ruin the friendship. Over time, resentment builds. You start avoiding their calls, not because you dislike them, but because you feel used. What if instead, the very first time, you had kindly explained, I really want to support you, but I am not comfortable lending money. I hope you understand. It might sting a little in the moment, but it saves the relationship in the long run. Because true friendship should be built on respect, not exploitation. Sometimes, the people who resist your boundaries the most are the ones who benefited from you not having them. That is why when you finally set them, some may get upset, but that's okay. A lock on your door may inconvenience a stranger who wanted to walk in uninvited, but it gives you peace of mind that your home is safe. In the same way, your personal boundaries might upset those who were used to your endless yes, but they will protect your mental health, your time, and your dignity. Think about family life as well. A young woman once told me, Guruji, my relatives expect me to be available for every event, every gathering, every responsibility. Even if I am tired or have work, I feel pressure to say yes. This is a very common struggle. We think family means saying yes at all costs. But the truth is, healthy families thrive on mutual respect, not forced obligation. When you gently explain your limits, I won't be able to attend this one, but I'll join the next. Or, I need time for myself this weekend. You teach them that your time is valuable too. You are not cutting them off, you are simply opening the door when it works for both sides. Boundaries also apply to emotional energy. Have you ever had someone dump all their problems on you without ever listening to yours? Day after day, they come with complaints, negativity, or gossip, and you sit silently absorbing it all. Slowly, you feel drained. That's because your emotional space is being cluttered. Setting boundaries here might mean saying, I understand you're going through a lot, but I don't have the energy to talk about this right now. Maybe we can discuss it another time. It's not cruel, it's self-care. A life without boundaries is like living in a house with broken doors. Anyone can enter, rearrange your furniture, or even damage your belongings. But when you have boundaries, you decide who comes in, how long they stay, and how they treat your space. And just like in a home, you can still be warm, welcoming, and hospitable. The lock doesn't make you unfriendly, it makes you secure. The beauty of boundaries is that they actually strengthen relationships. Without them, relationships become imbalanced, filled with resentment and silent frustrations. But with them, there is clarity, respect, and understanding. When people know your limits, they know how to love you better. It is like giving them a map. Here are the areas where you are free to walk, and here are the areas you must respect. Those who truly care about you will honor the map. Those who don't were never meant to stay in your life for long. Let's also reflect on this. When you don't set boundaries, you are teaching people that your needs don't matter, and people learn from what you allow. If you always say yes, they assume it's okay to keep asking. If you never say stop, they assume it's okay to keep pushing. But when you draw the line, you teach them that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable. In fact, you don't just teach others, you remind yourself of your own worth. So remember, boundaries are not about building walls to isolate yourself. They are about building doors with locks, so you can open them to the right people at the right time. They are about creating a safe, respectful space where love, friendship, and kindness can grow without fear of being taken for granted. When you learn to set boundaries with grace, you are not being selfish, you are being wise, you are not rejecting others, you are respecting yourself. And that self-respect is the foundation upon which every healthy relationship is built. People-pleasing is a form of self-abandonment. At first, this may sound a little strong, maybe even uncomfortable, but if you look at it closely, you'll realize how true it is. When you constantly bend yourself just to make others happy, when you silence your own needs so that others can speak louder, when you compromise your peace just to maintain someone else's comfort, you are, in essence, abandoning yourself. It is like leaving your own heart at the bus stop and driving away with everyone else. Think of this in simple daily life. Imagine a young woman who works long hours in the office. She is exhausted when she comes home, but her friends call her and say, "Let's go out for dinner." She doesn't feel like going, but she says yes because she doesn't want them to think she's boring or unfriendly. She goes along, laughs half-heartedly, spends money she didn't plan to, and returns home even more drained. The next day, she drags herself out of bed, regretting not listening to her own body. In that moment, she abandoned her own need for rest in order to please her friends. The truth is, her friends might not have even minded if she said no. They might have understood. But her fear of disappointing them made her disappoint herself first. Another example, a mother who loves her family deeply is constantly doing everything for everyone. She wakes up early, cooks, cleans, takes care of everyone's needs, and still says yes when someone asks her to take on one more responsibility. She never takes time for herself, never reads, never rests, never pursues her passions. Outwardly, people call her so selfless, so wonderful. But inside, she is running on empty. Slowly, resentment builds up. She feels invisible, unappreciated, and tired. Why? Because by always putting herself last, she abandoned her own identity. This is the silent pain of people pleasing. We often think people pleasing is kindness. But true kindness comes from a full heart, not from a heart that is constantly neglected. When you keep abandoning your needs for others, your kindness loses authenticity. You start giving not because you want to, but because you are afraid not to. And anything done out of fear cannot truly be love. Think about it in this way. Suppose you are on an airplane and the safety instructions say, put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. Why? Because if you can't breathe, you can't help anyone else. Yet in life, we do the opposite. We rush to put masks on everyone else while suffocating ourselves. That is what people pleasing does. It takes away your breath, your joy, your energy, and gives it all away, leaving you empty. And the saddest part, many people you are trying so hard to please may not even notice the sacrifices you make. Consider friendships again. There's always that one person in a group who never chooses the restaurant, never voices an opinion about where to go, and always goes along with the majority. Everyone likes them because they are easy to deal with. But do they feel valued? Often not. Because by pleasing everyone, they lose their own voice. Over time, they may even forget what they actually like, because their identity has been buried under the weight of pleasing others. This is what self-abandonment does. It erases the me in order to protect the we. Now, people-pleasing also creates an unhealthy cycle. When you abandon yourself to make others happy, you set a pattern. People begin to expect it. They think, she will always adjust, she will always agree, she will always show up. Slowly, they stop asking with gratitude and start assuming it is your duty. And when one day you finally say no, they are shocked, sometimes even upset. Not because you are wrong, but because they were too used to you abandoning yourself. That's why breaking out of this habit is difficult but necessary. Here's another real scenario. Imagine you are at work and your boss asks you to stay late. You already had plans, maybe to meet family or simply to rest, but you nod and agree. The boss starts expecting it regularly. You keep saying yes night after night while your personal life disappears. Years later, you look back and realize you gave away your precious time to please someone who may not even remember your sacrifices. That regret is heavy. But what if you had respectfully said, I'm sorry, I can't stay late today. I'll finish this first thing tomorrow. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. Maybe the boss won't like it. But in the long run, you would have honored yourself. And that's the shift to valuing your needs as much as you value others. People pleasing is dangerous because it teaches you to betray yourself. And once you get used to betraying yourself, you lose touch with your true desires, your true opinions, your true identity. You become an actor in someone else's play instead of the writer of your own story. Life then becomes heavy because you are constantly carrying the weight of other people's expectations. But here's the truth: you don't have to abandon yourself to be loved. The right people will love you even when you say no. They will love you when you express your truth. They will love you when you show your real self, not just your agreeable self. And those who only love you as long as you please them, they don't love you, they love their comfort. So the next time you feel that urge to say yes out of fear, pause. Ask yourself, am I honoring myself in this moment, or am I abandoning myself? Because every yes that comes at the cost of your peace is not kindness. It is self-betrayal. And self-betrayal, repeated again and again, takes away your joy. Real love, real friendship, real respect, they don't demand that you abandon yourself. They flourish when you stay true to who you are. When you stop pleasing just for approval, you begin to please from authenticity. And that is when your kindness becomes powerful, your relationships become healthier, and your life becomes lighter. Real love respects strength, not weakness. This is a lesson life teaches us again and again, but many of us still misunderstand it. We often believe that if we are always agreeable, always bending, always giving in, then people will love us more. We think sacrifice without limit is the highest form of love. But in reality, love that only survives on your weakness is not love at all. It is dependence, it is convenience. Real love is drawn to courage, to truth, to strength. It may not always agree with you, but it will always respect you. Think about this in a simple way. Imagine a girl who is always quiet in her relationship. Whatever her partner says, she agrees. Wherever her partner wants to go, she goes. Even when she feels uncomfortable, she stays silent. At first, the partner might think, she is so easygoing, she never argues. But over time, that silence starts losing value. The partner doesn't feel challenged, doesn't feel inspired, doesn't feel the spark of authenticity. Because there is no real strength in always agreeing. On the other hand, imagine a girl who sometimes says, I don't think this is right for me, or I see things differently. At first, her honesty may cause small disagreements. But in the long run, the partner respects her more because she stands firm in her truth. Real love grows there, in the soil of respect, not in the shadow of weakness. Let's look at family life. Parents often sacrifice everything for their children, which is beautiful. But if sacrifice turns into weakness, if a parent never sets limits, never says no, never teaches responsibility, the child grows entitled. They don't learn respect because they have seen only weakness disguised as love. But when parents balance their love with strength, when they say, I love you, but I will not support this wrong choice, or I care for you, but you must take responsibility, the child may resist in the moment, but deep inside, respect is born. Real love from a parent is not giving a child everything they want, but giving them the strength to stand on their own feet. Friendships too reflect this truth. Think about a friend who always agrees with you. You say the sky is green, they nod. You say, let's go somewhere you like, they nod. You make a mistake, and they remain silent. That kind of friend may make you feel comfortable, but not respected. Now think of a friend who says, I care about you, but you're wrong here, or I don't agree, but I will still stand by you. That friend may not always make you feel nice, but they make you feel valued, because their love respects your strength enough to tell you the truth. Real love is attracted to people who respect themselves. When you respect your own boundaries, when you honor your values, you become stronger. And that strength is magnetic. It pulls the right people toward you. Because the right people don't want a version of you that is weak and submissive. They want the real you with all your convictions and courage. A person who loves you only when you are weak doesn't love you. They love their power over you. But a person who loves you even when you are strong, even when you speak up, even when you challenge them, that person loves you for who you are, not what you give them. Think of a workplace. A boss may like an employee who never disagrees. But the boss values the employee who speaks up with confidence, who dares to present a better idea, who shows strength. That is the one who earns respect and promotion. In the same way in life, people may like you when you are weak and compliant, but they value and love you when you show strength. Strength does not mean arrogance. It does not mean shouting, controlling, or dominating. True strength is calm, steady, and firm. It is the courage to say no when it matters, the confidence to walk away from what disrespects you, and the dignity to stand for your values even when it is difficult. When you show that kind of strength, real love doesn't run away from you, it runs toward you. Another example, consider a woman who never complains about being treated poorly in her relationship. She accepts insults, neglect, and unfair treatment in silence, thinking that this is love, that her patience will make things better. But what actually happens? The other person loses respect for her because weakness is not respected. Now imagine the same woman saying firmly, I will not tolerate disrespect. If this continues, I will walk away. At first, it may shock the other person. They may resist, they may argue, but deep inside, respect begins to grow. Because strength demands respect, while weakness invites exploitation. Real love is like a fire. It needs oxygen to grow, but it also needs boundaries to stay alive. If you suffocate it with constant weakness, it dies. If you fuel it with courage and strength, it shines brighter. When you show strength in love, you are teaching others how to love you better. You are teaching them that your heart is not to be taken for granted, your kindness is not to be misused, and your soul is not to be neglected. So remember, if you want real love, don't hide your strength. Don't shrink to fit into someone else's idea of what a nice person should be. Stand tall, speak your truth, and live with dignity. The wrong people may walk away, but the right ones will stay. Because the right people don't love you for your weakness. They love you for your strength. And that is the kind of love worth keeping. Strength attracts opportunities, while weakness closes doors. This is one of the most powerful truths of life, but it is often overlooked because we are conditioned to think that being overly nice, overly compliant, and never challenging anything will help us win hearts and open pathways. But in reality, opportunities, whether in relationships, career, or personal growth. Come to those who show strength, clarity, and courage. Weakness may keep you safe in your comfort zone, but strength is what takes you beyond it to the place where your potential truly shines. Think about this in the context of career. Imagine two employees in the same office. One is always quiet, does exactly what is told, never questions, never suggests new ideas, never challenges the system. At first, their obedience may be noticed. They may even be liked for being easy to manage. But when it comes time for promotions, leadership, or big projects, who is chosen? Not the one who is weak and silent, but the one who shows initiative, confidence, and the courage to take risks. The employee who presents new ideas, speaks with clarity, and shows the strength to handle challenges is the one who earns opportunities. Strength naturally attracts growth because people trust those who show it. Weakness, on the other hand, fades into the background. Now take the example of relationships. Opportunities in love are also shaped by strength. A person who respects themselves, who sets healthy boundaries, and who communicates clearly is far more attractive than someone who simply agrees with everything, even when it hurts them inside. For instance, think of a woman who constantly sacrifices her own dreams just to keep her partner happy. At first, her partner may enjoy the comfort of being prioritized, but slowly, the relationship becomes one-sided, draining her energy and killing her spirit. Eventually, she feels invisible because weakness has erased her voice. Now compare this to a woman who says, "I love you, but my dreams matter too," or "I will support you, but I expect support in return." At first, it may cause conflict, but in the long run, it strengthens the relationship. Why? Because real opportunities for deep love and respect come when strength is present. Weakness may maintain temporary peace, but strength builds lasting growth. Think also of social situations. Have you noticed how people gravitate toward those who radiate confidence? At a gathering, the person who stands tall, speaks clearly, and doesn't fear judgment naturally attracts attention. Not because they are the loudest, but because strength is magnetic. On the other hand, the person who always hides, stays quiet, and never expresses themselves is often overlooked, no matter how kind or talented they may be. Opportunities for friendships, collaborations, and even admiration open up for the strong, while the weak get left unnoticed. Let's bring in a real, life-relatable example. Imagine two shopkeepers. One sets his prices fairly and confidently. If a customer tries to bargain unreasonably, he smiles and says, "This is the value of my product. If you see its worth, you'll buy it." His strength shows self-respect, and customers trust him. The other shopkeeper, however, keeps lowering his prices just to please everyone. Customers may take advantage of him, but they won't respect him. Who gets more sustainable opportunities? The strong one, because strength attracts not only respect, but also stability. Strength also attracts opportunities for self-growth. Weakness keeps you trapped in fear, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment. When you operate from weakness, you say, "I can't do it," and close the door before it even opens. But strength says, "I may fail, but I will try." That willingness to step into discomfort is what leads to opportunities that change lives. For example, think of someone who dreams of speaking on stage. If they stay weak, saying, "What if I mess up?" What will people think? They will never even try. But if they show strength, step up despite their fear, and deliver their message, they open doors to opportunities they never imagined, connections, growth, and self respect. Weakness locks doors, strength turns the key. Another powerful example is in friendships. A weak friend always follows along, never suggesting, never questioning, never challenging. They blend into the background, and eventually, their presence is taken for granted. A strong friend, however, speaks up when something is wrong, contributes ideas, and brings energy to the group. Who gets invited to more opportunities, more meaningful experiences? The strong one, because their presence adds value. Strength is not about shouting louder or dominating others. It is about showing the courage to be authentic. It is about saying yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no. It is about having the confidence to pursue your path even if others don't understand it. And when you do that, doors begin to open. People notice. They say, here is someone who knows who they are. Here is someone I can trust. Someone I want to work with, someone I want to be around. That is the power of strength. On the other hand, weakness makes people hesitate. If you don't respect yourself, why would anyone else respect you? If you don't believe in your own value, why would anyone else invest in you? Weakness quietly whispers to the world, I am not ready, while strength announces, I am capable, and the world responds accordingly. So remember, strength is not just a personal trait, it is a magnet for opportunities. Every time you choose courage over fear, clarity over confusion, authenticity over pretense, you are creating an environment where opportunities will find you. The universe respects strength because strength reflects faith. Weakness may keep you unnoticed, but strength will place you where you are meant to be.